Bridging the Gap, Episode 2, Part 1. Through the Eyes of the Family, What Addiction Looks Like from Both Sides. Different Experiences. One Disease. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap, Understanding Both Sides. I'm Kristina Fox, and I'm so grateful you're here with me. Today we're looking at addiction through the eyes of the family. If you're a parent, spouse, sibling, grandparent, the child of someone in addiction, or a friend, this episode is for you. One of the most heartbreaking things families say is, "I don't even recognize them anymore." The person you knew, the person you loved, the person you laughed with, seems to slowly disappear. Instead, you're left watching someone who has become angry, paranoid, manipulative, depressed, hostile, or emotionally absent. And it's terrifying. I've lived this. I've watched loved ones become convinced people were chasing them. I've watched hallucinations become their reality. I've watched them spend hours locked away, talking to people no one else could see. I've come home to complete chaos that somehow made perfect sense to them. I've watched furniture moved all over the house because they believed they were cleaning. I've watched someone stay in a bathroom for hours. I've watched my home become a disaster. I've experienced the fear of finding stolen property in places it never should have been. I've answered phone calls filled with confusion, fear, hopelessness, and threats of suicide. I've listened as loved ones became convinced people were trying to kill them. I've heard stories that simply weren't real, but to them, they were. As a family member, it's hard to understand. You begin asking yourself, what happened to my child? Why are they acting like this? Do they even care about us anymore? Will I ever get the person I love back? Those questions come from heartbreak, not judgment, because the grief families experience is unlike almost anything else. You're grieving someone who is still alive. You miss who they used to be. You wonder if they're still in there somewhere. And every day you hope that today will be different. Families often begin blaming themselves. Was it something I did? Did I love them too much? Did I not love them enough? Could I have prevented this? Those questions are normal, but they rarely have simple answers. One of the hardest parts of loving someone with addiction is watching them do things you never imagined they were capable of doing. Lying, stealing, manipulating, becoming violent, disappearing for days, breaking promises, not showing up for birthdays, holidays, or even funerals. Eventually, many families stop recognizing the person standing in front of them, and it's easy to begin believing this is who they've become. Addiction changes the brain. It changes judgment. It changes priorities. And it changes their behavior. That doesn't excuse the choices someone makes. It doesn't erase the hurt they've caused. And it certainly doesn't mean you should tolerate abuse or abandon your boundaries. But it does help explain why the person you love can seem so far away. Understanding addiction doesn't mean accepting harmful behavior. It doesn't mean removing consequences. And it doesn't mean sacrificing your own well-being. It simply reminds us that addiction is affecting everyone involved. Families are hurting too. Your pain matters. Your exhaustion matters. Your fear matters. And your healing matters. In our next episode, we're going to cross the bridge and look at this same topic through the eyes of someone living with addiction. Not to excuse it, not to justify it, but to better understand it. Because healing doesn't begin when we agree on everything. Healing begins when we're willing to understand what the other person is experiencing. I thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode encourages you, I hope you'll stay to listen to part 2, and then like, share, and follow the podcast. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover in a future episode, I'd truly love to hear from you. To connect with me, please visit my website at KristinaFoxAuthor.com. From there, you can explore my books, listen to the podcast, read the blog, subscribe to my newsletter, join and connect with me across all of my social media platforms. Until next time, protect your peace, choose healthy boundaries, and remember, you can love them without losing you.
Take care.
Bridging the Gap. Episode 2, Part 2. Through the Eyes of Recovery. What addiction looks like from both sides. Different experiences. One disease. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Understanding both sides. I'm Kristina Fox, and today we're looking at the same topic through the eyes of someone living with addiction or beginning the journey of recovery. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge something. If you're listening to this episode, there's a good chance you're questioning your relationship with drugs or alcohol, you're newly sober, or you're working every day to stay in recovery. If that's you, I'm glad you're here, and let me tell you that I am so proud of you. Today isn't about judging you. It's about helping you understand something many of us don't fully see until recovery begins. If you've ever struggled with addiction, you've probably heard someone say, "You've changed." The painful truth is, you probably knew it before they did. Many people living with addiction don't recognize themselves anymore either. You wake up every morning promising yourself, "Today's going to be different. Today's the day I'm going to stop." But before the day is over, you're doing the very thing you swore you wouldn't do. After a while, you stop trusting yourself. And if you can't trust yourself, how can you expect your family to? Many people in active addiction describe feeling lost, confused, ashamed, terrified. Some become paranoid. Some hallucinate. Some hear or see things that aren't there. Some black out and honestly can't remember what they said or did. Others isolate themselves from everyone they love. Their brain isn't functioning the way it once did. That doesn't erase responsibility, but it helps explain why addiction becomes so destructive. I remember my own struggle with alcohol. There were times I blacked out. Conversations I barely remembered. Days that felt blurry. I almost missed a funeral because I drank until I passed out. Toward the end, I stayed home. I drank alone, not because I wanted to destroy my life, but because I was trying to escape pain I didn't know how to face. That's what so many addictions have in common. People often think addiction is about wanting to get high. Sometimes that's how it begins. But eventually, it becomes about not hurting. Not feeling sick, not feeling ashamed, not remembering the trauma, not hearing the thoughts racing through your own mind. The substance promises relief, but eventually, it becomes the very thing creating the pain. One of the biggest lies addiction tells you is, "Nobody cares. Nobody understands me. Everyone has given up on me anyway." But here's another truth. While you're living inside the addiction, your family is living inside it too. They're losing sleep. They're afraid to answer the phone. They're wondering if today's the day they'll receive the call they've been dreading. Many people in addiction tell themselves, "I'm only hurting myself." But addiction never hurts just one person. It reaches your parents, your children, your spouse, your grandparents, your friends, the people who love you. Then recovery begins. The fog slowly starts to lift. You begin remembering things you tried so hard to numb. You begin seeing the consequences more clearly. You begin realizing the pain your loved ones have been carrying. For many people, that's one of the hardest parts of recovery. The guilt can feel overwhelming. Sometimes so overwhelming that using again seems easier than facing everything you've done and everything you have been through. That's one of addiction's cruelest lies. Because guilt says, "I made mistakes." Shame says, "I am a mistake." Recovery teaches us those are not the same thing. You are responsible for your choices, but your mistakes do not define your worth. Healing doesn't begin when you become perfect. Healing begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. Then it grows as you become honest with others. Honest with your family, honest with your recovery, honest with yourself. No one can force you to recover. No one can love you into recovery. No one can rescue you enough times to heal what's happening inside of you. Recovery is something you choose. One day, one decision, one honest moment at a time. Understanding your family's pain doesn't erase your own. And understanding your own pain doesn't erase theirs. Both can exist at the same time. That's why we're building this bridge. Not to compare pain. Not to decide who's right. But to understand that addiction wounds everyone it touches. When families understand what addiction can do to the brain, compassion often begins to replace anger. When people in recovery understand what their families have been carrying, accountability begins to replace denial. Those are two completely different experiences of the very same disease. I thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, I hope you'll listen to part 1 of this episode and then share, and follow the podcast. And if there's a topic you'd like me to cover in a future episode, I'd truly love to hear from you. To connect with me, please visit my website at KristinaFoxAuthor.com. From there, you can explore my books, listen to the podcast, read the blog, subscribe to my newsletter, join and connect with me across all of my social media platforms. Until next time, take responsibility for your healing. Give yourself grace. You deserve to heal. You are not defined by your mistakes. Recovery isn't about becoming who you used to be. It's about becoming who you were always capable of becoming. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode.